Hello. As always, I hope you and yours are safe and healthy. Last week I talked about moving into the summer slowdown, and on Sunday I reflected on Jesus' words about Sabbath when he and his disciples were called Torah breakers for eating and healing on the Sabbath. Sabbath is an end in itself, a time to reach out to God and to neighbor and for spiritual muscle to be restored. Before we talk more about Sabbath, up front, let me invite you to remain after the Sunday service you attend this week to be part of a special kickoff of our Rejoice and Renew campaign to repair our roof. We'll explain the project, give you some visuals, and ask for your help. I hope you can be with us. Now, while the summer slowdown is a Sabbath of sorts, there is much that goes on under the surface as we look toward a new program year. Of particular interest is the renewal of the Journey to Adulthood program here, beginning with the new Right 13 group. One theme of the Journey to Adulthood is that our manhood and womanhood are gifts from God. Our adulthood is something we earn. Right 13, the first stage in the journey, will engage a cohort of 6th and 7th graders in lessons and activities around their spiritual growth and their growth as members of a community. Among the highlights of Right 13 are the Right 13 ceremony, when each one of the members is celebrated around their 13th birthday and their budding independence is acknowledged, and an urban adventure, when the group ventures to a large metropolitan area to, under the watchful eye of their chaperones, develop some adult competencies like riding public transportation or finding their way from one place to the next. We're trying to raise faithful Christians and competent adults. If you're a parent of a young person who will be in the 6th or 7th grade this fall, please attend at least one of the introductory sessions describing the program. The next session will be Sunday, June 16th at 9:30. We're also exploring ways to develop our Christian formation for young children and for older youth, as well as expanding fellowship opportunities for all ages. But now is a really good time for you to explore what's going on under your surface. I don't know if the lectionary intended this sort of timing, that is, this being the beginning of summer, but the readings from the Hebrew Scriptures for the 2 weeks prior to this last Sunday focused on call. Remember, on Trinity Sunday, we heard the call of Isaiah. In the temple, he had that marvelous vision of the Lord sitting on a throne high and lofty. Amid the smoke and the seraphs, Isaiah heard a voice call, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Isaiah can only respond, "Here I am, send me." Then last week we read of young Samuel, who was ministering to the Lord under Eli, we're told. We're also told that the word of the Lord was rare in those days, so when he was awakened 3 times by a voice calling his name, he at last replied as Eli had instructed him and said, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." The word God had given him to proclaim was not easy, but he followed God's call. How are you being called? Are there needs among this congregation you're being called to meet? To help prepare the altar? To offer a voice to the choir? To be an usher or a greeter? Or are there needs in our community you're being called to respond to or to bring to our attention so that we all might respond as Jesus' hands and feet? Hearing our calls amid all the loud and competing voices in our world is hard, but God is still calling you and calling me. Be open to what God's calling you to, then respond in faith. All of us following our calls is how God is redeeming the world God loves so much. See you soon.